Good afternoon. Welcome back to NATO, and welcome to everyone in Naples. We expect to welcome Lieutenant General Charles Bouchard, Commander of Operation Unified Protector, in a few minutes. It is now 90 days since NATO launched Operation Unified Protector under the mandate of the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1973. That historic resolution mandates the use of all necessary means to protect civilians in Libya. The arrest warrants issued by the International Criminal Court yesterday for Gaddafi and his two closest aides on suspicion of crimes against humanity show exactly why that resolution was necessary, why NATO decided to act, and why NATO will keep up the pressure until that mandate is fulfilled. The arrest warrants are yet another signal from the international community to the Gaddafi regime. Your place is on trial, not in power, in Tripoli. It is not for NATO to enforce that warrant. That is for the appropriate authorities. Our mandate is to protect civilians from attack. The decision of all NATO allies and partners to extend our operation for another 90 days from today is a clear signal of that determination. Now, this is the military track, where NATO foreign ministers have set out three clear goals: an end to all attacks against civilians, the withdrawal to their barracks and bases of all of Gaddafi's military and paramilitary forces, and full and unimpeded humanitarian access. There is, of course, the second parallel political track, where the United Nations and the contact group are in the lead. NATO is part of that broad international effort to reach a solution to the crisis, but we have made clear from the start that there is no purely military solution. It's the combination of our continued military pressure and a reinforced political pressure that will bring about the transition to democracy that the Libyan people demand and deserve. And with that, I hand over to General Bouchard in Naples. General, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Juana. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. As Juana rightly mentioned, we are going through our 90th day of operations under the NATO mandate, and progress has been significant throughout this campaign. As we take a look at it, starting in the east, Benghazi is now seeing signs of normalcy. Diplomacy is taking place, and the markets are reopened, and we are moving towards a stable environment. In the area of Ashdabia, just to the east, approximately 80 kilometers from the town of Brega, is the town of Ashdabia, and that too continues to stabilize. In the early days of this campaign, up to 70% of the population had left this city, and today we estimate that around 70% of the population has returned back to Ashdabia. There remain a significant size force in the Brega area under the regime control, and we maintain an eye on this. We have conducted some operations over the last few days, and we continue our effort in this area to ensure that they will not advance and cause more harm to the population. Further to the west, in the Misrata area, we have moved from the port. The population has been able to move forward from the port, and in fact, the line are now located around the Daphnia area, between Daphnia and Zlintan in the east, and approximately 50 kilometers to the south. It's interesting to note that between Zlintan and Daphnia, the regime forces have placed around 300 civilians between the pro-Gaddafi and anti-Gaddafi forces, further proving the point that the regime continues to use civilians to shield themselves against any operations. This makes our mission more difficult, but certainly not impossible, as we continue to attrit the forces. In the west, we're seeing very good successes from the anti-Gaddafi forces, and we've seen that the violence in the town of Yafran and Zintan have stopped. There remain some activities in the Nalut area, mainly indiscriminate shelling, and we continue to hunt for those artillery pieces that are inflicting harm on the civilian population. In Tripoli, the situation remains very tense. We have reports that the population has tried at some places to show some demonstrations against the regime, but these demonstrations have been very severely put down by a very repressive security force, and this continues. And we have continued reports that the population and casualties are being taken by regime forces, security forces who continue to inflict pain and harm on the population. Overall, we've been able to restore normalcy in the east. We continue to support the Misrata area, and in the west, we are seeing significant success in ensuring that pro-Gaddafi forces do not bring harm to the population. I think at this stage, if I was to put plainly our successes in Libya, I think the next slide would give you an idea what it is. This, you will look on the road itself. There's a checkpoint on the left-hand side of the slides, and slightly to the right on the road are the letter T and X, NATO. Thank you, NATO. And this is the feedback we're receiving. And finally, this last one's on the rooftop, where the words thank you are being written. And this is the feedback we are receiving from the population and the appreciation of our work that we're doing. We remain committed to this mission, and we continue our effort to ensure that the population will not suffer from the illegal activities and immoral activities of this regime. The International Court decision yesterday, as has been rightly pointed out, only shows the will of the nations not to accept the kind of violence that this individual is causing and his group is causing on the population. He has lost the moral authority to command his country, and we remain committed to bringing peace in Libya and to provide an environment where diplomacy can take place and the people of Libya can decide for themselves their future. Thank you very much. We'll go to questions.